And
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of All In. All right, so we're going to talk about listening, but listening to your inner voice. One of the things that we all probably have is that voice that sometimes we don't pay attention to because of fear. And who knows what it may be and what it's telling you or what it's saying to you, but sometimes we just need to be still and listen and sit and contemplate. And one of the things as we always do in our pre-session, you all, is we talk about these things, and it's what came up today. And what I recognize, even for myself, is there's definitely the voice. There's definitely things that have come up recently that I'm kind of saying, nope, 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 that's not what I'm supposed to be doing. Um, and I'm recognizing why are you so intensely saying no? And I know it's sometimes it's just fear. It just is. It's fear. And the beautiful thing about that voice is it doesn't go away. So it's gonna keep, it's gonna keep, talking to you until you address it. And while I know it's not, necessarily easy, what I recognize even in this moment is you got to pay attention. You got to pay attention. And I think for me in particular, there's a lot of things that I'm good at. And so just because you're good at lots of things doesn't mean you should be doing all the things. And I, will be the first one to raise my hand and say, yep, I probably do way too many things, have my hands in too many things. But what am I really supposed to be doing? And again, that's where that voice is coming um, in my head. And I want us to be intentional. You all know it's one of my favorite words. Be intentional about listening and making sure that we don't have the outside voices that are talking to us because we all have them, like we just do, whether it's family, friends, environment, social media, you know. But that voice that is inside that is just kind of pecking at you, and we should pay attention. We should pay attention because you never know what door that can open, what new opportunity, what new experience it can do for you. And I'm gonna say this again. I'm talking to myself right now. Is making sure that when you listen, be intentional about it, sit in it. It doesn't mean you have to make decisions right away, but what it makes you do is allow you the time and the space to listen and hear what's being said.
I want to kind of expand on that in that sometimes we have a voice, right, in our head that says, you love this. You just don't want to do the work that it takes to make that happen, right? And
Yeah.
I have had this happen over and over in my career where I was being led, and I'll just say it that way, by whatever, the universe, whatever it is that you believe, whatever you grab onto as far as um, spiritually, metaphysically, whatever, right? That in my career, every time there was something that just would not leave my mind, right? It just would not leave my heart. It would just keep coming back, coming back, coming back. One of those things was starting my school back when I was in my 20s because I loved teaching, and I had a great coach at the time who was in Chicago, who said if the opportunities aren't presenting themselves, create your own.
Yeah.
And what that did for my career when I was early in my career was it made me realize that, I'm waiting for somebody to hand me something. I'm waiting for somebody to give me an opportunity. I'm waiting for somebody to make it easy. I'm waiting for somebody to pay me the big bucks to come up and do my thing, right? And not that that's out of reach, not that we all can't have that. And a lot of times we don't really realize what it means to be in those spaces. I, as a performer, I know the backstage stuff, right? I know how much work it takes to put a show on. I know how much work it takes to prepare for a performance or prepare an audition or even prepare for a speaking engagement.
Right.
And when I've built things in my career, it was because there was a voice that would not freaking let me alone. It wouldn't let me alone. And when we're kind of going down a path and we think it's supposed to be the thing we're supposed to do, and we keep pushing at it and pushing at it and pushing at it, and then we get frustrated, and then we get upset, And then we get bitter, and then we get
Yeah.
angry, and we're like, why? I'm working so hard at this. I'm trying to get this thing to happen. I'm trying to get this thing to happen. Sometimes, brace yourselves, it's not the right thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes the thing that lights you up is the right thing, but we're afraid to admit it.
Yeah.
And we're afraid to actually jump in and say, okay, this is going to be a lot of work. This is going to be a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. This is going to be a lot of, actually focusing on building something. And I'm a legacy builder. I've built things that have gone on without me, nonprofit organizations and various other things. And I realize the work and time that it takes to build those things.
Yeah.
But it is also what lit me up at the time, right? It was like it was a mission. It was something I saw the value in. It was something I knew was going to make a difference in the world, that was going to help my community, that was going to help people, have a place, whatever those, because I've built a bunch of different little communities and things. I have been fighting that in myself, to Paula's point. I've been fighting this sort of, I want to be the talent, right? I want to be the talent, and I am. And I do get to go do that. But there's also this other big part of me that's the teacher, that will always be the teacher, that will always be the person that will focus on growth in other people.
Yeah.
And not because I have to, not because I can't do the other thing, but because it's part of my heart. And the confidence I had to come by, by working really hard and putting myself out there and, taking the risks and taking the hits and doing all the things is something that I think Paul and I are both very passionate about sharing. How do you stand in your own voice
Yeah.
and know yourself and make the difference in the world that you want to make because you have a mission or a vision, and do it in a balanced, low stress as much as possible way that keeps your life peaceful also, right? And that's the biggest question we always have. It's like, well, if I embark on this big project, it's going to take a lot of my time and energy. But I can tell you right now that anything that I've ever embarked on that I was passionate about, that I really wanted to dig into, that I felt like I feel like I'm being led here. While it was a lot of work and a lot of time and it was worth it. I look back and I say it was worth it for two reasons. One, because of the impact that it had. And two, because of the fact that I was excited. Like I woke up passionate. I couldn't wait to work on it. And when you don't feel like working on your business or working on the thing that you want to do or think you're supposed to be doing, there's a reason that you don't feel
Yep.
like it.
Yep.
So we have to ask, sometimes we have to ask ourselves the hard questions. Like what's really going on?
Yep. Yep. And listen to the voices that are there. Um, don't ignore it. And as we talked about teaching, many people probably don't know. I'm an adjunct at a college, and I just finished teaching 5 classes for the summer, and it beat me down, but I got through it. But the joy in it was the notes at the end from my students, and it brought me joy. And so again, you are spot on about no matter how hard it is and what we're doing, there is a joy that comes with it. And so listening to the voices of what you're supposed to be doing or what you shouldn't be doing or why you're not doing certain things is just so important. So I'm going to leave everybody this week with take the time and listen. Take the time and listen. Whatever that nagging thing is, whatever that thing that just won't go away, take some time, be still, and listen. You might be really surprised at what you may find.
All right, y'all, go out and go all in. Have a great day.
All right, y'all. Bye.